The JPDL is back with week 4 predictions. I'm giving you all the rundown from Thursday night JPDL all the way down to Monday night JPDL. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it because this video is going to be short, but it's going to get a lot across. Starting off with the Thursday night football game, we have the newly ranked number 3 Las Vegas Hurdlers taking on the number 9 ranked New York 67ers. Okay, this is a matchup, as you can see with the rosters, where on paper, it looks like, how is this team number 3? How is this team number 9? But, it just happens to be that way. They're just not playing, in terms of New York, aren't playing up to their potential. In terms of Las Vegas, they're playing far beyond what we could have ever believed them to play. Looking at the keys to the game here, Las Vegas has a 7-3 overall record against New York. Coach Mills somehow, he knows Coach Diaz. But in the Dynasty era, to be fair, they are even at 2-2. So there is a chance that maybe, given the records in the past, New York has a little something to give to Las Vegas. I don't know. Pause on that. Las Vegas Hurdlers, however, this is another key, a huge key, motivation. They have the ability to go 4-0 in the league to start the season off. And 5 of 7 teams that have been 4-0 have had the bye week. It's definitely something that you want to have. The bye week is, like I said, crucial. And so to actually have stat line where you can say, hey, 5 of 7 teams have made the bye week at 4-0. You got to look good if you're Las Vegas Hurdlers and you see that 4-0 spot. Lastly, the other guys. Coach Mills is able to get the best out of his players. I will give him credit for that. He knows how to get the best out of what we call Mills players. Like, we call Mills players for a reason. They're just players that just somehow they get unlocked when Coach Mills is under their tutelage. I'm using big words now. I have Las Vegas winning this game. I think it's my lock for the week. I'm considering locks any game that does not include a 1 seed or a 10 seed. So this is my lock for the week. I have Las Vegas beating New York. Let's go to the next game. Going into our 1 o'clock matchup, we have the number 6 ranked Toronto Mystics taking on the number 10 ranked Dallas Lax Bros, okay? This is a game in which Toronto is going to be looking to bounce back from what they did last week, putting up the lowest points in the league against the number 2 Los Angeles Flames. And as you see from the roster, there's no reason why Coach Daigle and the Mystics can afford another week like that and survive. That's my personal opinion on this take. I think his team is good. The jumbo package, as we're going to get into, might potentially be there. We don't know how injuries and everything. Last week, Kittle was supposed to be there, wasn't able to make it, so we had a mini jumbo package. But key to the game here is ultimately working out the kinks of the jumbo package. If this is the way Toronto Mystics is forming their team and revolving their team around 4 tight ends in a lineup, which has never been done before, they're going to need to work out some kinks. What better way to work out a kink than against the number 10 ranked Dallas Lax Bros, who most people consider a bye week. And as for Dallas, their key is just to develop young players. They have a lot of star talent that could potentially bud into, league winners, potentially. Roma Dunze, he put up great numbers last week. Quentin Johnston, hey, maybe Dallas isn't counting him out. He isn't. Xavier Worthy still has a chance to be that guy for Kansas City outside of Rashee Rice. Plus the draft picks in 2025. This is just a building year. Get as much as you can from the young stars in Dallas and look to build and look to reevaluate your roster at the end of the year. I have Toronto Mystics easily winning this game. Let's move on to the 4 o'clock game. Moving on to our 4 o'clock game, we have the number 1 rated Atlanta Juicers taking on the number 8 rated Boston Baller Brand. Looking at the rosters right now, we can see exactly why Atlanta Juicers are rated number 1. They have some elite talent at both the quarterback position with Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, to the wide receiving core he has of CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, even at running back Saquon Bijan. He has studs all around his roster. As for Boston Baller Brand, this has been somewhat of an underwhelming season so far, but last week they did put on an absolute show, and they will probably be looking to, bounce back from that this week. And not bounce back, but bounce back with the same level of offensive firepower that they had last week and bring it to week 4. Now let's go into the keys of the game, starting off with Atlanta Juicers. They have to exploit the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 matchup. I feel like on any day, Atlanta needs to out-duel the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I'm going to assume wide receiver 1 and 2 are going to be Jamar and CeeDee Lamb. They're going to need to obliterate whoever is lining up against them at the wide receiver 1 and 2 spot there. I believe it might be T. Higgins, and Devontae Smith might be out, I believe. So there could be a chance that, a second wide receiver comes in who isn't used to the bright lights in Boston and does struggle a little bit. So I expect Ethan and the Atlanta Juicers to kill the Boston Baller brand in the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 category. As for Boston, a key for them, go to that Boston Baller brand of football, running the rock, stay to the ground, get as many rushing touchdowns and rushing yards as possible, because it's always guaranteed your running back's going to touch the ball at least 20 times. For at least Boston's team, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Devin Singletary. He had C-Mac, but he did get hurt. Boston's going to have to continue like he did last week. His running game got going, his team gets going, and he needs to do the same thing. If he makes it a battle of the quarterbacks or a battle of the wide receivers, he's going to lose. Big key here, not even a key, just something I want to put out. Coach Bigby is putting up prime 2019-2020 Atlanta Juicers Bigby numbers. I'm telling you this, in those 2 seasons, he only lost 3 games in the regular season. That's a 20-3 regular season record in those 2 years. And we're seeing a prime Ethan Bigby, a prime Coach Bigby at his finest right now with this team. I do believe he has the potential to maybe go 14-0 in this league. We'll have to see and watch, but as of right now, we're seeing a prime Coach Bigby right now, and there's nothing the JPDL loves more than Atlanta actually having good football outside of Los Angeles and Toronto and hopefully New York, but we'll never see it. Hey, I'm just saying. Let's go on to the next game, which is going to be the Sunday Night Football game. Going into the Sunday Night Football game, we have the number 5 ranked Washington kickball team going up against the number 7 ranked Philadelphia Frauds. Looking at the rosters, do not get it twisted. The way Washington's team looks right now is nowhere near the way Washington's team should look at the end of the season, or if all healthy and no injury sliders were turned on right now, okay? Washington is a formidable opponent. As for Philly, they are also a formidable team looking at their roster. They have just been struggling to really get going this year. Looking at the keys to the game, despite guaranteeing a win, Philadelphia is under 500 against Washington. I don't know if they know the stats. I don't know if they knew that was what was going on, but that is the truth. And neither one of these teams want to go 1-3. 9 of 19 teams make the playoffs at 1-3. So it's not necessarily a must-win game for these two, but, it's always better to get the win than to not get the win. As for another key, Washington have been the worst defense in the league by far, okay? They have given up the most points allowed. They're going to have to stop an offense at some point. Will it be Philadelphia's offense? I don't necessarily know. I think a lot of these players are motivated by Coach McCaskey and what he's been saying in that locker room, but let's not get it twisted. Coach Luther is a great coach, and even if it is injuries, he has depth, and he can make players play way beyond what we would normally think they had the capacity to even do. Which brings me to my final point, and that's Washington just needs to stay in the playoff race. While their team is injured, just stay in the playoff race. Do not necessarily have to clinch the playoffs. Just stay in the playoff race. Once those players get healthy, you come right back and you show them why you are a top team in this league. You're talking about Pacheco. You're talking about Puka Nacua. You're talking about Jordan Love may be back, may not be back. I'm tired of assuming he's going to be back. And then you're also talking about Trey McBride having concussion protocol after last week. This is a game in which we just need to build a couple of wins on Washington's resume until the full roster gets here. Once the cavalry come, it could be over for the league, and that's including Atlanta and Coach Bigby. Also, I do not know if I said this, but I do have an upset. I believe in Coach McCaskey and his victory speech that he's probably going to give to his team before they start on the field. I have Philadelphia beating Washington in this must-win matchup between 2-1 and 2 teams. Let's go to the final game. Monday night, we have the number 2 ranked Los Angeles Flames taking on the number 4 ranked Vice City Business. Both teams last week got the win with these rosters. Looking at them right now, Vice City, I believe they handily smote New York, but what team doesn't? And as for Los Angeles Flames, they were able to squeak by with a win against Toronto Mystics, not having their best offensive game, but not needing to because, the worst offense resided in Toronto for that week, unfortunately for Coach Daigle. However, this game has a lot of explosive players, which is why it leads me to my first key of the match, stopping the most explosive quarterback duo in the JPDL. That is Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. They have a potential to go for 50 every week. 50 or higher every week. I cannot necessarily say every quarterback room or any other quarterback room can go for 50 plus every week consistently like they can in Los Angeles. I mean, this is basically, you know what they say, this is showtime in LA. I'm just pointing that out. But as for Coach Montague, he's going to want to exploit the RB1 and RB2 matchup. Last week, his RB1 Brees, his RB2 Kyron combined for 45 plus points, which was a huge reason why they beat New York. And if they are able to do that and exploit Devon Achane and Josh Jacobs, do I think it's going to be as wide of a gap as last week's was against Ty Chandler and Jerome Ford? No, I do not. However, every point matters in this game. This game could swing as a matter of 5 points each another way. So we don't know which way this is going to go. So 5 to 10 points difference in RB1, RB2, that's going to matter for Coach Montague, and it's going to matter for Los Angeles. So this is going to be a game in which I cannot really predict how it's going to turn out, which leads me to the final thing. Coach Montague is 0-2 in the Dynasty era against Coach Fitzgerald. LA is 2-0 against Vice City, or at the once time Brooklyn, and at the other time, Chicago. This is actually a battle of the rebrand. Now that I said it out loud, I never even put that together in my head. We don't know how this is going to look. Okay, it's only been 2 games they played each other in the Dynasty era. That's definitely not a sample size that's big enough to make it a key to the game. I just had no third one because, honestly, this is a mystery to me. I don't know who's going to win. So that's going to wrap it up for the Monday Night Football game. It's going to be exciting. I have Los Angeles because, I can't not take Los Angeles. But no way that this game isn't going to come down to a Monday night, Sunday night type matchup. That's just how they all go with Coach Fitzgerald games, apparently. So let's go in and let's handle the recap of my picks. So just to recap, as we always do, I'm going to give a rundown of my picks for the week. Somewhere on this screen, you should see where we are at in terms of overall total picks, which I don't believe is as good as I thought it was going to be. But the JPDL, it's hard to predict, man. So let's get into it. Thursday Night Football, we have the Las Vegas Hurdlers, number 3 ranked, versus the number 9 ranked New York 67ers. I'm going to easily take the number 3 team. Las Vegas is showing the whole league that they are a team that should never have been doubted in the first place. I have them continuing their streak. As for the 1 o'clock, number 6 ranked Toronto, we'll take the number 10 ranked Dallas. I'm never not choosing the team that's playing Dallas. I don't know if I said that right, but give me Toronto Mystics, the number 6 team, handling it. I don't think I'm ever going to get one wrong on that one. Going into the 4 o'clock game, we have the number 1 Atlanta Juicers taking on the number 8 Boston Baller brand. And although I do love the old school style of the Boston Baller brand of running the rock and basically milking the clock, I have the number 1 Atlanta Juicers taking that. I think Coach Bigby is in prime form, and we're going to see it on display again week 4. As for Sunday Night Football, I have the number 5 Washington Kickball team takes on the number 7 Philadelphia Frauds. And I do believe, after guaranteeing a win, Philadelphia is going to come out and show that they are the top 3 team that we had predicted in the preseason to start off the rankings in the first place. Lastly, Monday Night Football, we have the number 2 ranked Los Angeles Flames taking on the number 4 ranked Vice City Business in a game where both teams are, it's kind of iffy as to who's going to win. I will say Los Angeles Flames have the better resume of teams they have played than Vice City Business. I think for that experience, I'm going to have to give Los Angeles the win, but Vice City is going to make this a close one. Let's have no doubt about it. So there you have it, folks. This is week 4 of the JPDL predictions. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Thursday Night Football is happening, I believe, today because I'm posting it on Thursday. So, let's go. JPDL week 4. Let's get all the way to playoffs, baby.